thought you were going to the bar. Should be. It's going to be frail. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to light the candle. Well, the mountains, I sent you a text.
Yes, I saw that. I'll
So
follow your lead.
We'll move it to the end if that's...
Yep. Thanks to Sarah, we have prayer books tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe Jeff too.
Maybe.
Yeah. I hope so. Shabbat Shalom.
All right, well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's good to be together. You know, one of my favorite things is to see the burning bushes that are along Santa Monica. And if you don't know what I mean, look for the low, very, very bright red bushes. They sort of burst into this beautiful red color in fall. They're gorgeous. And every fall, they just really, they speak to me and they move me. You know, that when the rabbis talk about the burning bush in the Torah, they actually mentioned the fact that that bush was always burning. And what made Moses different from all the other people that just walked on by that bush is that Moses saw it and turned aside, right? Everybody else, you know, had maybe looked at it, but they kept on walking. But there was something special about Moses in that he could see something that was special in front of him. It's a reminder that all of us, when we see the miracles that exist in our world, that we have to stop and take time and reflect on them. We see those burning bushes on the side of the road. Take some time to look at them. The fall colors, be able to go out and see the beauty of the leaves before they fall off the trees. You know, that is what it means to sort of be mindful of the world around us, seeing the beauty of the tree behind us as well. It's reflective of that beauty that we see in nature. And so on Shabbat is a time for us to rest. It's a time for us to slow down. It's a time for us to be able to take a breath and enjoy the world, because we are greeting the Shabbos Queen, Shabbat HaMalkah. And that can be found in your Siddur on page 10. Page 10.
Hachama merosh ha'ilanot nistalka Bo'u v'netze likrat Shabbat HaMalkah Hine hi yoredet hakdosha habrucha Ve'ima malachim tzva shalom u'menucha Boi, boi, Hamalkah, boi, boi hakala. Shalom aleichem malachei hashalom. The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace.
We turn now to page 25. And Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. Coming upon a certain place, he passed the night there, for the sun was setting. And taking one of the stones of the place, he made it his headrest as he lay down in that place. He dreamed, and lo, a ladder was set on the ground with its top reaching to heaven, and lo, angels of God going up and coming down on it. And lo, Adonai stood up above it and said, I, Adonai, am the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. The land of which you are lying I will give to you and to your descendants. And your descendants shall be like the dust of the earth. And you shall spread out to the west and the east and the north and the south. And through you and your descendants all the families of the earth shall find blessing. And here I am with you. I will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this soil. I will not let go of you as long as I have yet to do what I have promised you. Waking from his sleep, Jacob said, Truly, Adonai is in this place, and I did not know it. He was awestruck and said, How awe-inspiring is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. We are now going to turn to the lighting of our Shabbos candles. It's a joy now to call upon the Meldman family. Emily is going to become a bat mitzvah in just, I think, 2 short weeks. Is that right? 2 weeks? 2 weeks. It's pretty extraordinary. While having watched you grow up over these years, and having you all be here, standing together, you bring light into our community and certainly into the hearts of all who know you. And so we are going to turn now to page 2. That's page 2 in our Siddur, as Emily is going to kindle the Sabbath lights. So come on over here. You got this. You're going to light the candles first, okay? Go ahead. I'll get the page for you. Take that candle right there.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen. And why do you read this?
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Amen. We are going to turn now to, we're going to call you back up for the Kiddush at the end of services. And so we're going to invite you to maybe sit right here on our bima, and the rest of you can go back to your seats, and we'll come back up in just a little bit. And Emily, you stay up here. We are going to turn now to page 20 for L'chad Odi. L'chad Odi, a beautiful poem written by the mystics of Sfat. They used to walk up to Sfat, to the synagogue that was on top of a hill, and as they ascended along the snake path, they sang this very song. It's a reminder that we can lift ourselves up, spirit, through music, and through soulful prayer. So we join together in the singing of Lecha Dodi on page 20.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo v'zacho b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem ultiferet v'li tehila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, Ki va'orech kumi ori. Uri, uri, shir daberi, Kivod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola. Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
We now turn to page 26 for the Chatzi Kaddish. I have the joy of calling Emily forward once again, and she is going to lead us in this beautiful prayer.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malhutei. B'chayekonu v'yomekonu v'choyedechol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, ve'imeru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'alam u'almei almaya, yidbarach, yidbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yidpa'ar, v'yitroman, v'yidnaseh, V'tadar, v'taleh, v'talal, Shemei dekudasha barichu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran b'yalma, v'imeru, amen.
Yesher Koach, Emily, we are going to call you back up at the end of service with your family for the Kiddush, but it is always wonderful when our young people are leading us in prayer. On page 27, let's read responsively. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair.
Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways.
We continue now with the call to worship as we rise together as a community on page 28.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed.
We read together now in the Hebrew on page 30. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, sader et ha'kochavim b'mishmerotehem berakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We continue now with Ahavat Olam on page 32.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shochbeinu uvekumenu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratcha Uv'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla ve'yahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Amen. We join together now in the watchword of our faith, the Shema, on page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We continue now with Ve'ahavta on page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukeshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha uchetavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet.
We turn now to page 39 as we read responsively from the bottom of the page. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, osef ele, nora tehilot, osef ele. Malachutecha, ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam, lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze eli anu ve'ameru. Adonai imloch, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed. V'nemar, ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, u'galo miyad chazak mimenu, baruch ata Adonai, ga'al Yisrael.
We read together at the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue now with the Vishamril on page 44.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam beini uvein bnei Yisrael oti leolam. Kishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. We rise now as we turn to the Tefillah on page 46.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagite hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamolcha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, melech memit, umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. We continue reading responsively now on page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth.
May all who struggle find rest on this day.
May all who suffer find solace.
May all who hurt find healing on this day.
May all who despair find purpose.
May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day.
And may this day fulfill its promise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
We continue now on page 57. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam be'ava tikabel, u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land and Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. We continue now to the Hoda'ah prayer, a prayer of thanksgiving that reminds us to be grateful for all the blessings that come our way, on page 58.
Modim hanachnu lach. You are our God, rock of our life. Modim hanachnu lach. You are our God, shield of salvation, forever and ever. Modim anachnu lach forever. Morning, noon, and night, modim anachnu lach. Modim anachnu lach. We sing your praises, we sing your praises. Modim hanachnu lach. Compassionate one, merciful God, forever and ever. Modim anachnu lach forever. Morning, noon, and night, modim anachnu lach. Our lives are in your hands. Our souls are in your keeping. Your miracles surround us day by day. Our lives are in your hands. Our souls are in your keeping. Your never-ending love has always, never-ending love has been our hope. Modim anachnu lach. We will never stop praising your name. We will never stop praising your name. Praising your name. Modim anachnu lach.
We turn now from feeling that sense of gratitude about the world that surrounds us to wishing the world could be more whole, more full of peace, which we find the prayer for peace on page 61. And certainly the world in which we live, we can't help but feel the brokenness around us and wish to put those pieces together, one act at a time. And as much as we pray to God for peace, I'm certain that God is also hoping that we'll be able to find the way. Let's read together at the top of page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. We turn now from the prayer for peace, a prayer for shalom, to a prayer for shalem, a prayer for wholeness and healing. We think of all those who are in need of refuat nefesh or refuat guf, a healing of body or a healing of spirit. Particularly in our hearts and minds, we are thinking of Shandel bat Frida Melka, Julie Borikoff, Margot Roz, Carol Dubin, Samsara Vizcaya, Sharon Rotman, Bob Radke, Lyle Rubel, Jean Boss, Alan Turner, Steve Toplinsky, Myron Dvorkin, Esther Cohen, Lisa Furstad, Harav Ilana Miriam Barchava, Faye Levin, HaChazon, Sarah Rachel bat Yocheved Alexander, Tia Barrett, Wendy Salzberg, Steve Plotkin, Avram Ben Naftali, Emma and Max, Doug Cruz, Nadiva Sarabat Liba, Carol Rovner, David Goldstein, Marilyn Harmon, Barry Bursack, David Kelly, Reitza Tzvia Bachena Etta, Mary Frankowitz, Sophia Rubenstein, Alana Himmelfarb, Wendy Wiviet, Sue Weller, Kate Wilson, Yocheved Bat Rundle V'chaim, Avraham Bat Frida, Marla Chikowski, Michael Sychek, David Rotter, Peter Becker, Natalie Cohen, Teresa Drews, Yona Neri Bat Avraham Vasara, Batya Bat Moshe Veliba, Keith Mandel, Jamie Kryman, Isla Bat Natan Vishoshana, Douglas Vreeland Shuitt, Mark Cook, Peyton Roberts, Cooper Saul Roberts, Luke Clinton Roberts, Keely Roberts, Jason Roberts, Mark Berlin, Dr. Susie Mendelson, Aubrey Rubin, Josh Bowley, Michael Hellenberg, Julie Austin, Jay Stearns, Moshe Ben-Fagela Vasal, Eli Palin, Kara James, and Maria Luisa. We think of all those dear ones who are in need of healing, and we take a moment and we think of all those whose names should be pronounced differently than I did, or those whom we're holding in our hearts. We say these words of tradition. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, the source of healing.
Mi sheberach avoteinu mikor habracha le'imoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imoteinu mikor habracha la'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
These beautiful words of healing still echoing in our hearts and minds, we take this time for silent reflection.
Hiu leratzon, hiu leratzon, imrei fi, vegion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, vegoli. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto you, O God, my rock and my redeemer, my rock and my redeemer, Adonai tzuri, vegoli. Amen. 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 Amen.
So yesterday morning, I got a text from Rabbi Jen that said, congratulations on reaching the happiest day in the rabbinic calendar, the day after Yom Kippur. As the truth is, the happiest days of the Jewish calendar are actually ahead of us as we turn from that sort of austerity, that austere sense of God's presence that strikes us during Yom Kippur, or Rosh Hashanah, the high holidays, as we move into the joyousness of Sukkot. We call it Zman Simchatenu, the time of our rejoicing. And one of the reasons that I guess this is the same for the cantors, is yesterday the happiest day in the cantorial calendar? Cantor's nodding. So one of the reasons that it is the happiest day for clergy, the day after Yom Kippur, isn't simply because of the satisfaction of having a powerful communal experience, but because we have wiped the slate clean. It's a really wonderful feeling to wipe the slate clean. We are, in a sense, tabula rasa, blank slates in the world, ready to fill the pages of our deeds for the new year. But for me, the reason I love the day after Yom Kippur is that it's the morning that I begin to build my sukkah. And I love building a sukkah. And it completely clears my mind, and I feel the past weeks slip away while I put post and beam together. And yesterday, I got most of it done right up until it started to pour. It is, after all, a rainy season. So I want to talk to you today about rain. And it seems like a strange subject, but there's something about it that really fits with this holiday of Sukkot. And certainly this week's Torah portion takes note of it when Moses is actually singing at the end of his days. He's singing a song. And he's reflecting upon his life and giving advice, and there were hard times and times of triumph, but he begins his song as follows. May my discourse come down as the rain, my speech distill as the dew, like showers on young growth, like droplets on the grass. Let me tell you, with the way people feel about rain, it takes a brave person to compare and hope that your words fall like rain, especially when our relationship with rain is so complex. You know, in traditional synagogues, on the last day of Sukkot, a special prayer is recited known as Tefillat Hagashem, which is translated as the prayer for rain. And during the Amidah, in recent years, we've begun reciting the insertions for the seasons. Have you noticed that we've started to add that in? And it is something that's pretty interesting, because during the summer months, we recite, as we did today, Morid Hatal, where we pray for the dewdrops. And then in the winter months, which begin after Sukkot, we say Mashiv Haruach U'Morid Hagashem, who makes the wind blow and makes the rain fall. You know, the early reformers took these seasonal insertions out of our liturgy because they believed that God was not causing it to rain, or causing it not to rain, or causing dew to collect, or causing dew not to collect. It was for them superstitious to turn God into a rain deity, especially when they were disconnected from the land of Israel, where it typically would not rain in the summer for 6 months. And this season, there were no guarantees that the rain would start again, or that the dew was enough to sustain the food that they needed to survive. Rain played, and still plays, an essential role in our lives. But nobody likes it raining on their head while trying to build a sukkah. You know, there's a song that I'm very fond of, and I'm sure many of you know it. It's called Clouds by Joni Mitchell. Do you know that song? In this song about life and love, she thinks about the meaning of life from youth to old age. And she begins the song by talking about clouds. And here's how it goes. Rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way. But now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds' illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Aren't you lucky I didn't sing? We have an interesting relationship with rain, don't we? And I can't tell you how many times I've been asked when a special event was coming up outdoors to pray that it not rain. But let me tell you something you might not know about Jewish thought on the subject. We are forbidden from praying that it not rain. Do you know why? Because every day there's probably somebody, some person who is praying that their event not be rained out. And if God were to answer each of those prayers, the farmers would have no crops and we would have no food. So I've always found this nuanced and sensitive approach to prayer extraordinary. At face value, it makes a great deal of sense, but it's actually quite profound. Because I don't think we're just talking about the water that falls from the sky. Rain can be symbolic in our lives. Lack of rain, too. Often we think of our specific needs in the context of whether it will rain or not. We think about how unpleasant it might feel in our face or how it might disrupt our plans. But our tradition removes us from our self-centeredness by forbidding us to pray that it not rain. It teaches us that we truly are part of a greater whole, that we must accept that our misfortune might be someone else's fortune and not begrudge that fact. Because when fortune and misfortune is spread among all of creation, it most often creates a sense of balance. And balance is necessary for our world to be sustained. Rabbi Avi Cooperberg, quoting Reb Hoffman, shares that the Gemara in Brachot 60a teaches us that we must bless God for the good as well as the bad that happens in life. And blessing does not necessarily mean thanking. It means acknowledging God's divine providence. Now, Reb Hoffman explains that by blessing God for the good and for the bad, we acknowledge that God is the source of everything, and it helps us be aware of the grander scheme of existence. And while it may not always be easy to thank God for the rain in our face, we certainly can bless God for the rain that makes our world vibrant and full of life. So perhaps rain can operate metaphorically in our lives, and so too can the sukkah. So as we assemble our sukkahs, the embodiment of our souls, fragile and permeable in the world in which we live, rain will fall. It's going to fall. We will be disrupted sometimes more than other times. And when we see a larger picture of how we fit into the whole of existence, perhaps the rain will be easier to bear. In the Midrash, Rabbi Tanchum ben Chaya taught, the sending of rain is even greater than the giving of Torah. The Torah was a joy for Israel only, but rain gives joy to the whole world, including birds and animals, as it is said, you take care of the earth and irrigate it. That's in Psalms. But the Bostoner Rebbe once taught, commenting on this verse, it is especially effective for praying when it's raining. And with a twinkle in his eye, he would say, when the Creator is giving out brachot, blessings, take advantage of it. So how we perceive rain will define our experience of it. Like Joni Mitchell, can we see it from both sides now? Like Moses, can we sing in the rain? Can we feel the blessings of it upon our face, even when it comes at inopportune times? This Sukkot is man simchatenu. It's a time of our joy. But rain will fall. Let it not change our praise or our happiness. Let us think of the world about us, refreshed in the rain of the seasons of our lives. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's a joy now to call upon the Meldman family to step forward as they have the honor of opening up our doors as we turn in our Siddur to the Aleinu. The Aleinu can be found on page 282. That's page 282 in our Siddur. It's a joy to call on Richard and Jennifer and Rachel and Emily. Come on up, guys. And we're going to turn to that Aleinu. We rise now together as one community as we turn to these sacred words.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו Ushemo, Ushemo Echad.
You may be seated, particularly during the seasons, when they change, when we look out at the fall leaves, we watch them fall after their beautiful splendor of being so bursting into color. They fall to the ground and they nourish the soil beneath. It's a little bit like that with those that we love. Their lives, they burst into beautiful color, they give us a sense of joy and a sense of hope, and yet we all fall from the branch of life, but we nourish the next generation with their memory. So we think of those dear people who have passed into life eternal during this period of Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period. We think of Harriet Arnold, Millicent Benfield, Gerald Gilbert, Shirley Graham, Jerry Kramer, Sheldon Salzberg, Michael Schumann. In addition to those names, so too do we think of those who passed into life eternal for whom this Shabbat marks their yahrzeit. And as we move into this new season, we always do so feeling as though we're walking in their footsteps. We think of Abraham Matinsky, Sheldon Morton Barnett, Harold Biller, Charlene Pass Blumenthal, Albert Bornstein, Joseph Borns, Sarah Kagan, Thomas Dubo, Arnold Efron, Ben Eisenberg, John Garrett, Hadassah Goldberg, Edwin Goldman, Alan H. Goldsmith, Isidore Gratch, Jack Grinbaum, Evelyn Heller, Esther Joseph, Ruth Kaiser Kushner, Max Kolb, Harry Levin, James Paul Lubotsky, Fanny Lukoff, Ruth Marks, Betty Minkin, Geraldine Netboy, Ben Parks, Bernard Pava, Alvin Pfeiffer, Leonard Pikus, Adam Pollock, Harry Pollock, Saul Rabinowitz, Mary Rosenberg, Ben Shapiro, Prentice K. Shapiro, Leo Thalhofer, Kenneth Trevorrow, Jacob Turer, Glicka Ugent, Leonard Walkoff, David Warshaw, Paul Wolfe, Marcia Yanoff, Evelyn Uditz, and Albert Bornstein. If there are names that should be added to this list or names that should be pronounced differently than I did, please do call those names out loud as I look in your direction. In addition to the names of our loved ones, so too do we think of all those who died due to war and or terrorism. We think of all those who have died in defense of this nation and allied nations' ideals. We think of all those who died to this terrible virus that has stricken our nation and our globe, as well as those who have died due to the terrible virus of racism and xenophobia. In addition to those names, too, we think of all those who perished during the Holocaust. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope. The Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, can be found on page 294. We rise together now as a community as we recite these sacred words. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, B'yalma divrach rutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Ulamei Amaya. Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yit Pa'ar V'yit Ramam V'yit Nasei. V'yit Adar V'yit Alev V'yit Halal Shmei D'Kudusha B'richu. Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata. Tushbechata V'nechemata. Damiran V'alma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya. V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated. Now it's a joy to call upon our congregational president, Brent Arnold, who's going to come on up to the bima and share words of announcements and all the good things that are happening at Congregation Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Brent.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'd like to wish you all a very happy and a healthy new year. It really has been a couple busy weeks here at Congregation Shalom. And I want to thank all of our clergy and our staff for their hard work and dedication in making the High Holy Day services so successful this year. It was really nice to see our sanctuary full again, and I received so many great compliments from all of our congregants. I even heard a lot of great things from our family service that happened at Doctors Park. The weather cooperated with us. So also please feel free to let us know if you have any further thoughts that you may have to improve our services for next year. This Sunday, October 9th, in lieu of our morning religious school, we encourage you all to join us to celebrate the holiday of Sukkot. This way, you won't miss that early morning Packers game from London, unless you're coming here for Bagels, Books, and Babies, which will be at 10 a.m. in the morning. But our Sukkot service will begin Sunday evening at 5 o'clock p.m., and we'll be having pizza in the hut at 6 o'clock following the service. Also this Sunday, our youth choir begins rehearsal at 4:30 p.m., and I hear that there are over 20 young kids excited to sing in the youth choir this year, so that is awesome. Also, congrats as well to the B'nai Mitzvah of the Kala family. Tomorrow should be a great day for them. Also, next Sunday evening, October 16th, we welcome you back for Simcost Torah services at 5 o'clock with a really cool klezmer band. Right, Cantor? Followed by another amazing congregational dinner. That will be at 6. So please don't forget to register online for dinner. It should be another great year here at Congregation Shalom. Thanks for being with us tonight. We look forward to seeing you all again at many of these upcoming events. Hope you have a very restful Shabbat.
Thanks, Brent. Shabbat Shalom. This Sunday is going to be just incredible in the sukkah. It's going to be bursting at the seams. And we had to check to see if everybody was going to fit in the sukkah, but it's going to be tight, it's going to be warm because everybody's going to be together, so it's going to be awesome. So it's also awesome that Emily's becoming bat mitzvah, so we're going to call her forward. You bring a tremendous amount of sweetness into our community, to our congregation, so it's only right that you should lift up this cup and lead us in the Kiddush. So we're going to rise now as we turn back in our Siddur to page 5. And Emily, if you'd like to step forward, and you can be flanked by your family as they stand beside you as well. And let's raise our cups, a cup that is overflowing with blessing and sweetness.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Drink it?
Yeah, just a little one. Go for it. Is it okay? A good year? A good vintage? You can tell. Well, I was just saying to Rachel, it felt like yesterday that you were up here on the Bima, and it is just a joy to celebrate with your whole family. Emily, it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful day. You're going to make it so special. And so we are now going to turn to our closing hymn for this Shabbat, which is Lo Yisagoy. Cantor, on page?
The bottom of 341.
Page 341. Page 341.
Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.